Leopold I, known as the Illustrious, a member of the House of Babenberg, was Margrave of Austria from 976 until his death. He was the first Margrave of the Babenberg dynasty, which ruled of the March and Duchy of Austria until its extinction in 1246. The origins of Leopold the Illustrious are not known. According to early traditions, documented by Bishop Otto of Freising in the 12th century, he is descended from Duke Henry of Franconia and the elder Babenberg family, whose genealogy is documented in Franconia nobility. According to some sources, his father Berthold was count in the Nordgau, the region north of Ratisbon in the Duchy of Bavaria. A more recent theory identifies Leopold as a younger son of Duke Arnulf of Bavaria and brother of Count Berthold of Schweinfurt. While his ancestry remains disputed, some affiliation with the ducal Leopolding's dynasty is probable. Leopold is first mentioned in a document issued by Emperor Otto I on the 13th of February 962 as Lupo, Count of the Bavarian Donau region near Ratisbon, Count of the Traunau region, and a faithful follower of the emperor. After Otto I had defeated the Magyars in the 955 Battle of Lechfeld, he re-established the Bavarian Marcha Orientalis in the conquered territories, placing them under the command of Margrave Burkhard, a brother-in-law of Duchess Judith, consort of Duke Henry II of Bavaria. When Burkhard joined the uprising of Duke Henry II against Emperor Otto II, he was deposed at the Imperial Diet of Ratisbon in 976. According to a charter dated the 21st of July 976, loyal Leopold was appointed Margrave of the Marcha Orientalis, the core territory of the late Archduchy of Austria. The resettlement of the east was a slow process that centered from the fortress of Pochlarn down the Danube River. Leopold's Margraviate originally coincided with the present-day Wachau Valley, and whose eastern boundary was the Traisen River near St. Pölten east of Krems, with the Magyar threat largely reduced following the defeat in 955. Leopold focused on securing his holdings from internal threats and dissensions. In 984, he engaged in the reduction of the fortress at Melk, which was still controlled by supporters of the late Margrave. Once Melk was secured, Leopold most likely used it as his residence, founding a monastery there for 12 secular priests. By 987, Leopold extended the boundary of his Margraviate to the east as far as the Wienerwald mountain range, and by 991, jointly with reinstated Duke Henry II of Bavaria, further down to the Fischer River. In 994, Leopold travelled to Würzburg to mediate a dispute between his cousin Margrave Henry of Schweinfurt and the Würzburg bishop Bernward von Rothenburg, one of whose knights Henry had seized and blinded. At a tournament held on the 8th of July, Leopold was hit in the eye by an arrow directed at his cousin. 2 days later, on the 10th of July 994, he died from his injuries. He was buried in Würzburg. In 1015, his son Duke Ernest I of Swabia was buried next to his father. In the 13th century, the remains were returned to Melk Abbey. Historiography. Leopold ruled over the re-established Marcha Orientalis for 18 years. He organized and expanded it with great ability, and left behind a Margravate that he had assumed the character of an ordered and civilized land. The chronicler Themar read that no man was wiser that he in all his actions, or of a worthier nature. Perhaps the highest testimony to Leopold's life and reputation came from the actions of Emperor Otto III, who immediately invested his son Henry I with his father's Margravate, although Leopold is not mentioned in the Babenberger chronicle written by his descendant Otto of Freising, which only starts with Leopold's grandson, Adalbert. He is known today as the progenitor of the Babenberg dynasty. Otto of Freising's claim of ancestry to the Franconian Babenbergs, who are remembered for the Babenberger insurgency of the early 10th century, has not been proven, but cannot be completely ruled out. In 1976, the millennial anniversary of Leopold's appointment as Margrave was celebrated as 8,000 Years of Austria. Celebrations under the same title were held 20 years later at the anniversary of the famous 996 Osterreichi document first mentioning the old German name of Austria. Marriage. Leopold married Richard I, the daughter of Count Ernest I Vivsualafelding I and probably the aunt of Duke Adalbero of Carinthia. The marriage produced 8 children: Henry I, 2nd Margrave of Austria; Judith; Ernest I, Duke of Swabia; Adalbert, 3rd Margrave of Austria; Poppo, Archbishop of Trier; Kunigunde. Hemmer married Count Rapoto of Diesen; Christina, a nun at Trier.